they had that, man.
Ooh.
And they had Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet just getting down in transition. The Lakers went cold in the fourth quarter. Jalen, how impressed are you by this win from the Raptors?
Jacoby, Reggie just reminded me of something. You did a list of your teams in the Eastern Conference to make the playoffs.
Okay.
The Raptors weren't included.
Hold on. So now I'm being sabotaged not just by you, but also by Reggie. Oh, you know what I mean? I made a simple mistake. I just forgot about the Raptors, okay? But now, well, you're always gonna phone me. We need to pull up this part where I said this game was gonna go this way, and it did. All right, we can start pulling up clips of you getting games wrong too. I don't know. We're gonna start doing that. And I got Reggie working against me too. I see y'all. I see what's happening around here. It's the people that are closest to you are the ones who are against you the most. That's what's really happening around here. All right, we can start pulling up some old clips of Jalen Rose, talking about 99% sure Kawhi Leonard's gonna stay in Toronto, talking about Michael Jordan's gonna play a game this year for the Hornets. All right. We can start doing that too. I'm ready. It's all out war now.
Actually, I was going to compliment you because anybody that follows this unprofessional program understands that when we do lists, they're never accurate.
I only forgot one team. Yeah, every time we shouldn't even call them lists anymore. We should call them incomplete lists.
Yeah, let's change. I like that. But let me say one thing about the Raptors. Really well coached. Playing without Serge Ibaka, playing without Kyle Lowry. The most improved player, Pascal Siakam, will clearly be an all-star this year. Fred VanVleet playing quality minutes. This was a big-time road win against the Lakers, who had won 7 straight.
And you see that it's 32-8 in fast break points. And we always celebrate the Lakers for their defense. We always celebrate the Lakers for their size. But sometimes that size does come at a cost. Not the fastest team up and down the floor, especially when you look at someone like Pascal Siakam, who is so good in transition, finishes tough buckets, going 100 miles an hour. I love Siakam's game, and I think you are right. I think he will be an all-star in the East. You know what? They're not only just playing without Serge Ibaka and Kyle Lowry, they're playing without Kawhi Leonard. Like, let's not forget that part. They're playing without Kawhi Leonard, who's obviously on the Clippers.
And Danny Green, who was on the other team.
That's a great point. Jalen Rose, the stretch mark 5 had himself a weekend. Nikola Jokic, the stretch mark 5. He did this to beat the Sixers on Friday night at home. And then last night on Sunday, what'd he do? He doubled down. Look at this little turnaround. A 1-foot turnaround from 20 feet. What'd you see from the stretch mark 5 over the weekend?
I got to give people a little snapshot behind the curtain. Over the last couple of weeks, Jacoby was a little disappointed. You know, he trademarked stretch mark 4 and 5. His favorite body type plays in Denver, got off to a slow start. Jacoby was upset. He wasn't himself.
I was.
And then all of a sudden, I look down at my phone. Jokic hitting turnaround jumpers to win games back-to-back. He's enthusiastic again. You're a happy camper now.
I'm back. When Jokic plays well, I play well. That's the way it works. Me and Jokic are tied together because we have the same body type as a fellow stretch mark basketball player. Jalen, you know I love Jokic. Makes me happy when he plays well. But one of your guys, we have some very bad news about. Gordon Hayward out with a broken hand. Jalen Rose will commiserate. Coming to you live from Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport and brought to you by Delicious Heineken. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, Dion Waiters, and the Miami Heat were on a flight from Phoenix to Los Angeles. On that flight, Dion Waiters had a panic attack, and he has now been suspended 10 games by the Miami Heat because there are reports that the panic attack was due to some edibles that were given to him from a teammate. Jalen Rose, I have so many questions, but my first question is this. How many edibles did he take?
A couple of things, David Jacoby. Adam Silver's on the phone. Hey, Dion, that's a failed test. That's all I know. That's a failed test. Okay, Jacoby, I've been watching a lot of the news. And for the young people, please know what they're saying about the vaping is real. What you said about, your question about the edibles is also real. You can't determine the amount of THC that's in each edible. That's a failed test. Tanner, what is this for Dion Waiters? Come on, I just can't. I can't say this with a straight face.
Everybody knows somebody that ended up in the hospital because of edibles, and now everyone knows Dion Waiters. And while we do wish him the best, and mental health is very important, and we do want him to get back on the court, this isn't just a one isolated incident thing between him and the Miami Heat. If you haven't noticed, he has played 0 minutes for the Heat this year. 0 minutes for the Heat. They've got Kendrick Nunn playing over him, and they've got Tyler Hero playing over him. So what part of this incident do you think is a little bit of him lashing out against the franchise a little bit?
And also, they added Jimmy Butler this offseason to be their best player on the perimeter. Remember, Dion Waiters was getting buckets and playing quality minutes even before Dwayne Wade got back. So he saw his role diminish last year, and then that led into this offseason, and then adding the players you just described has diminished his happiness with that situation. But you still have to be professional, Jacoby. Missing 10 games is going to cost him almost $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what happens? You know what happens when I think about somebody losing $1 million? It makes me call Tanner and ask him, what does that mean for Dion? What does that mean?
Well, there's a couple things. There's also a report that it was one of his teammates that gave him, quote, a gummy, and that he refuses to name who that teammate is. A couple things about that. Number one, shout out to Dion. You know, to keep everyone's name out your mouth. I'd like that move. Number two, it was definitely more than one gummy. It was definitely more than one gummy that gave him a panic attack on this flight. Jalen, this is one warning to everybody out there, especially those that live in states where this stuff, you can just walk into a dispensary and get it. Be very, very careful when consuming edibles. We all know someone who this has happened to. And one thing I hate about edibles, Jalen Rose, I've got 3 little kids. What do they make? Gummy bears, gummy worms, brownies, chocolate bars, all things that my kids love to eat. Please be careful out there with the edibles and keep them away from children.
Well said. That's exactly where I was going. And the Rice Krispies as well.
Yep, all that. Well, we move on to some actual basketball. The Lakers hosted the Raptors in Los Angeles.
All right, we're going to do a little basketball. Pleased to welcome in our NBA analyst, Shanae Goode-McKay. Let's talk about LeBron James and the Lakers hosting the defending champions last night.
It was good.
And the Toronto Raptors. I mean, you know, Lakers streak snap, guys. This is what I think there might have been too much malarkey in the beginning.
Good word.
Yeah, because here he is, you know, recreating Sunday Night Football with his best friend,
Touchdown.
AD. Perhaps that might have been the problem. Early on, though, they look good. James finds Davis in the paint for a layup. How you feel?
Yeah, AD is one of the best first-half scorers in the NBA. You cannot be sleeping on him, and LeBron usually takes over in the second half. But usually, but the second half happens.
Yeah, then there's a third quarter. Van Fleet comes off a screen and he hits a 3, so that just warms him up.
It does. He's an aggressive scorer on the perimeter, but he's also an underrated finisher at the rim. Fred VanVleet, this is who he is.
That's what he does.
This is what he does.
All right, what about this other guy, Pascal Siakam? They paid him. They paid him well, right?
Worth it.
He finds them.
Look at the transition D.
It's nice, right?
It's non-existent for the Lakers. Non-existent. Sort of like Kawhi.
You know,
gone from the Raptors.
I think that they didn't take them seriously.
You know,
perhaps.
I do agree. I think this was one of those, I think we can win because a couple of your guys are out, but guess what? They snuck up on them. They're the defending champs for a reason.
All right, so as she pointed out, they are the defending champions for a reason. Kuzma tries to get a 3 off, it doesn't work, and what happens next?
Yeah, that was the play of the game. You know, the play right before, Kuzma also missed another shot. So yeah, that was a tough break for them. 5-point swing.
Okay, so Siakam finished with 24 and 11. Raptors 113-104. They beat the Lakers. We have to talk about, because Toronto's hanging out here for a second, what stood out to you about Pascal Siakam's play in which perhaps he needs to replicate if he wants to beat the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, his former teammate?
Well, Pascal Siakam has a real chance to be the first person in the NBA to win Most Improved Player in back-to-back seasons. First person to win it multiple times. And check this out. This is what you needed with Serge Ibaka out. He defends the rim, he's on the floor, and now Kyle Lowry's out, so he has to initiate offense. He brings the ball up the court. We all know what he can do as a 27 points per game scorer. So he gets into the pick and roll, but this is the real improvement, the reason why he could be back-to-back Most Improved the first time in NBA history. This is what he does. He likes the ISO, the Caruso matchup. Dwight Howard comes. Now he's a playmaker. He finds Chris Boucher for for the finish. Now, if I told you Chris Boucher averaged just 3 minutes before that game, you'd be shook. You'd be shocked.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe you.
But this is the Toronto style of basketball. Chris Boucher, G League MVP. You have Pascal Siakam, G League champion,
but
and G League
they're
Finals
the defending
MVP.
champions. We're talking about them like that. We're surprised. We should not be.
Well, you should be surprised that Pascal Siakam can really galvanize his team when Kyle Lowry is out and Serge Ibaka is out. This is a team that snuck up on them. And this is just who Pascal is. I said before the season, my hot take was that he is going to be an all-star. He absolutely is. The thing that surprised me is that he's probably going to be most improved if he keeps it at this pace.
I feel as if we might be the only ones surprised since they paid the young lad. I like him. Chiney Ngumike, stay here, hang out with me, or not. Maybe not.
Last 8-game start since the 2010-2011 season on Phil Jackson. It's pretty impressive right there. There he is, King James, who's been using the hashtag WatchKing. People saying he's washed up. I don't know how many people actually said he's washed up, but he's using that as motivation.